What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to keep this video short and sweet, and we'll just get straight into it. Okay, so listen, if you struggle to stop smoking weed, you're not alone. I was in the same boat not even a few weeks ago. It's a pretty common problem nowadays. Okay, roughly 10% of people who start smoking weed become addicted to it. That's concerning. Okay, 1 in 10 people who are exposed to marijuana struggle to stop smoking it. There's a couple reasons why that is. Both of them, the two biggest reasons are going to be relating to its legality. And those reasons are going to be just increased accessibility. It's just way easier to get your hands on weed, and that makes it a lot easier to become addicted. And then higher doses of THC per unit of marijuana. People back in the 80s and the 90s were not struggling as much with weed addiction as people are in the 2020s. And that is because weed was not as strong as it used to be. Okay. So if you find yourself as one of the 10% of people who struggle to stop smoking weed, like myself, I'm going to share with you what worked for me. Now, I've done a ton of research, and I implore you to do your own, right? I'm just a guy with the camera and a microphone, so do your own research. But the routine that I devised has been informed by my research, and it worked. So it worked for me. I can almost guarantee it is going to be extremely beneficial for you, if not just fix the problem entirely. There's a lot of things at play, but again, it just worked, okay? It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be sexy, and we're going to get into it. But with all that being said, the biggest trigger for me when it came to relapsing was the physical sensation of withdrawal. Okay. There's a lot of triggers. One of the triggers may be where you smoked at. So like your living room, maybe your bedroom, just seeing the substance, seeing your bong or the rolling tray, maybe the vape pen. That would be another trigger. Smelling it, driving past the dispensary, those are also triggers. The biggest trigger for me was the physical sensation of withdrawal, and that went with me everywhere that I went. So the routine that I devised was based entirely around how can I minimize these withdrawals, because these are the things that are making it difficult to stop. So with all that being said, the routine is, in as few words as possible, I wake up and I go to the gym. I go to the sauna. I sit down for 20 minutes and I meditate. Once I leave the sauna, I take a cold shower. And then immediately following that, I do a cold plunge, minimum 2 minutes. If you do that, sauna, cold plunge, and just rinse off in between, I promise you, you are going to feel about 10 times better than you did before that. And doing that will give you really just the platform to stay away from weed. You're not going to feel so dependent on it. Okay? Now, going into the sauna, there are a lot of people who are advocating for this nowadays. Even, I think his name is Brian Thompson. He's the dude who's trying to live to 120. He did like an entire video with a bunch of really solid research and evidence inside of it. It's super cool. But people are discovering that, hey, the sauna, it does wonders for mental health and physical health. Okay? You do your 20 minutes in the sauna. Now, I like to meditate in the sauna. It's just a habit that I formed. I step in there, and it's just, before I know it, I'm in like half lotus position, and my hands are like folded up, and I'm focusing on my breath, right? I don't think you need to meditate, but it certainly helps, okay? It certainly won't hurt to make you feel better, right? You get into the sauna, and it's going to release all these endorphins. It's going to, boost your serotonin. It's going to make it easy for you to feel more content without changing anything, okay? Being inside the sauna is going to be very demanding on your body, and the way that your body is going to respond to that stimulus is to slow you down and to help you calm down, okay? Now, you wake up, after like 5-6 hours of shitty sleep because you haven't been getting high, and you feel irritated and agitated, and everything's getting on your nerves. Colors are too bright. Everything is just too much. You go into the sauna, and it's going to just that lever inside of your body is just going to get pulled, and you're going to be able to relax. Okay. And then you're going to follow that up with the cold plunge. Now, really, the cold plunge is a cherry on top. If I could only do one of the two, I would do the cold plunge. It is far more uncomfortable. I wouldn't really call it relaxing, but it almost has that effect. You have to try it if you've never tried it, okay? But the cold plunge, the reason why I put it into my little regimen is that it spikes your dopamine. And unlike a lot of things that spike your dopamine, it doesn't just drop your dopamine immediately after. So you hit your vape, your dopamine shoots up like 200 or 300%. And then 5 minutes later, 5 minutes later, you're below baseline. You feel even worse after taking your hit. The cold plunge, completely different. You feel awful. You feel pretty uncomfortable while you're doing it, but you feel great for about 3 to 4 hours afterwards. Instead of your dopamine taking this massive drop below baseline, your dopamine actually just kind of slowly tapers back down to baseline. And you have to remember that our bodies have evolved through nature to not die. So when a human body, something with your genome, has been exposed to extreme cold temperatures very suddenly, the way the body reacts is to increase dopamine. Now, dopamine is going to be the neurotransmitter that just makes you want to seek things outside of yourself. It is the chemical responsible for hunting and gathering and foraging and exploring your environment and collecting things, okay? It's driving you towards a goal. Dopamine is the motivation molecule, okay? So you drop this organism into the super cold water, and the organism is going to respond by releasing tons of dopamine with the intent to get out of the water, whatever it has to do to make that happen. If it has to fight and, claw and scratch to get out the water, the body is going to supply the motivation to do that. Very different when you're in the sauna. All right. You don't want to be moving a lot when you're in the sauna. You want to keep your heart rate low. So the body is going to do everything to make that happen naturally. When you step into the cold plunge, your body is going to just flood you with dopamine. Okay. And if you've ever taken an amphetamine or Adderall, you get like a calm kind of focus. That is what you're going to get from a cold plunge. It's going to be once you get past the initial shock, after about 30 seconds, you're going to feel it. Your entire body is just going to have this release, this very euphoric, relaxing, like, oh, I guess this is just what it is now. We're going to be cold. We don't need to shiver. This is just what it is. And after about 30 seconds in that sauna, you're going to become very, very calm. Okay, that grogginess, that irritation, it seems minor in comparison to freezing cold water surrounding you, right? And after about 2-3 minutes, really go as long as you can before your body starts to shut down. Your body will tell you when to get out. As you step out of that cold plunge, there's no better feeling. I promise you that there's no better feeling than stepping out of a cold plunge. You feel alpha. That's the best way to put it. And I know it's kind of cringe to use that word nowadays, but you feel alpha. You feel like you just added about 3 new patches of hair to your chest, right? You feel good. You feel calm. The ability to talk to people is just, you're fluent. You're like talking to people in the locker room. You feel good. You want to interact with people. The cold plunge does that for you. Now, if you can manage to do that little routine, sauna and cold plunge first thing in the morning, I promise you, you are going to have a much easier time staying away from weed for the rest of the day. And once you can do it once, you're going to be hooked. If you're anything like me, at least, you do it once, and you get that rush of just calm stillness and tranquility, and you feel good, and it's almost like you just got an extra 10 hours of sleep, you're going to be hooked. And that's going to be the new thing. That's going to be the new weed, right? It's going to be your cold plunge in your sauna first thing in the morning. That's going to be how you get your high. And it's going to make you feel better than everybody else around you. It's going to make you feel a little superior. It's going to make you feel talkative. It's not going to make you feel anxious. It's not going to make you feel like you're supposed to feel guilty or something. Like, it feels great. And that's all that I have for you guys. Now, if that in and of itself isn't enough for you to stay away from weed, do it again about a couple hours into the day, right after noon. If you can afford to do it, if you have the time, do it again, and that will help. On top of that, just do the basics. You already know what I'm going to say. Go for a walk, get some sunlight, drink lots of water, do some moderate exercise. I know it's not a sexy answer, but it is the answer that works. And I mean, this is just the situation, man. You got about 2 weeks of a really shitty time. There's no way around it. Like, we're in 2025, about to be 2026. We haven't developed any therapies or any medications that can just turn the withdrawals off, right? We don't have that technology yet. Maybe we never will. For right now, the only way that you're going to get through this is by going through it. And it's just going to be 2 to 3 weeks of not feeling great. So what you should do, what I would recommend, is leverage everything in your power to rig the game in your favor. And that's going to include your neurochemistry and your fitness. And that's pretty much the only levers that you have to pull so that you can rig the game. There's not a lot. There's not too much else that you can do in order to stay away from weed. Now, obviously, staying away from your triggers and keeping yourself busy, those are also going to be massively helpful. But at the end of the day, your triggers aren't going anywhere. Weed is only going to become more common and more available. At least that's what I speculate. I don't think it's going to be, illegalized anytime soon. But the idea is to learn how to coexist with weed without being dependent on it, and ideally without even using it. You don't want to feel like you need to get up and like move to Utah where it's still illegal so that you just don't even have the temptation. Like, that isn't the ideal scenario. You want to be able to be around it and not be bothered by it. And the way that you do that is just to feel good, just to already feel good, to have no reason to go back to, feeling like a shitty, guilty, depressed, anxious person. And that's all that I have for you guys. I hope you got something good out of this. Everything that I've shared with you is everything that's worked for me. So I don't think that there's anything else that you need to do. The hard part is just going to be to execute. If you did get something good out of this, share this with a friend. Leave a comment down below. Let me know how your withdrawal journeys are going. Give me some feedback. Let me know if there's something that you would like to pick my brain on. I'm a small YouTuber, so I do appreciate any feedback I can get. And yeah, make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care and good luck.